These parents begged for a daughter but got something completely unexpected. Do you know the expression, "Be careful what you wish for"? Today's video is about Angie and Gino, who really wanted a daughter but got something completely unexpected. Angie and Gino were a young couple who had always dreamed of starting a family together. Early in their relationship, they often talked about having children and had even picked out names for their future kids. When Angie finally got pregnant, they were overjoyed. Long before their wedding, they had agreed they wanted 2 children, a boy and a girl. When Gino proposed to Angie, she instantly said yes, and the two had a beautiful wedding. Shortly after tying the knot, Angie became pregnant and gave birth to a beautiful baby boy 9 months later. The couple was overjoyed with their first child, and 2 years later, as planned, Angie became pregnant again. This time, they had another boy. Their small family was growing, and they were very happy. Yet, something still felt incomplete. They longed for a baby girl to make their family truly whole. Angie and Gino adored their sons and showered them with all the love and care they deserved, but their hearts still yearned for a daughter. They had no trouble getting up early and going to bed late. They watched the boys grow up and experienced and enjoyed each of their developmental stages. The boys were growing up, but still, the family was secretly wishing for a girl. Finally, a few years later, their dream came true. Angie was pregnant again. She was so happy and immediately made a doctor's appointment. She hoped that it would be a girl this time and went to the doctor with her fingers crossed. After the blood test, her pregnancy was confirmed. Gino was also very happy about the news, and together, they went to the doctor for the first ultrasound. That's when they discovered the baby was a girl. Overjoyed, Angie and Gino returned home, thrilled their wish had finally come true. They eagerly awaited the next ultrasound, filled with excitement. However, they had no idea what surprise lay ahead. During the second ultrasound, the doctor found something unexpected, not 1 baby, but 3. Even more astonishing, all 3 were girls. Angie and Gino were in shock. They had always dreamed of having a daughter, but never imagined such a surprise. Triplet pregnancies are rare, often resulting from fertility treatments, but Angie's was even more unique. She was carrying the babies in 2 separate placentas, meaning the triplets were a mix of identical and fraternal. A truly extraordinary case. This was a unique phenomenon. The girls were already special. Angie and Gino were so excited that their prayers had finally been answered. But they were also worried because the doctor had told them that being pregnant with triplets could cause some complications. At that point, they knew their lives would change forever. They immediately started to prepare for the arrival of the 3 babies. Angie and Gino hired a nanny and bought a big family car because their family would grow to 7 people now. They also asked their friends and family for help and took time off work to support each other. As the doctor predicted, the pregnancy was not easy on Angie. Luckily, she had mentally prepared herself and knew a bit of what to expect. But she had only prepared mentally, and she forgot to prepare herself emotionally. When Angie was 26 weeks pregnant, she encountered her first complication. Scans showed that the baby's amniotic fluid levels were low, and she had to receive treatment immediately. Because this complication posed a serious risk to the babies, Angie and Gino decided she would stay under the doctor's close care. Angie spent the remaining 14 weeks of her pregnancy in the hospital, missing her 2 sons deeply. She was used to seeing them every day, but now her time with them was limited. To ease the separation, Gino regularly brought the boys to visit her, and the family practically lived at the hospital. The staff went out of their way to make Angie comfortable, even arranging occasional date nights so she and Gino could share a meal together, something they hadn't done in weeks. Angie spent most of her time resting in bed to keep the babies safe, which was difficult for someone as active as her. Occasionally, she was taken around in a wheelchair and had daily ultrasounds to monitor the babies. During one scan, the doctor discovered that one of the babies was growing slower than the other 2, adding to their concerns. This baby needed some extra care, and in the weeks that followed, this baby received extra attention at every ultrasound. Doctors decided to let the babies grow until 34 weeks so that they could continue to develop on their own after being born. Angie looked forward to meeting her babies, but didn't want to do so before the time was right. So she waited patiently. The longer the babies remained inside her belly, the stronger they would be. But the babies had different plans. When Angie was 32 weeks along, the babies already announced their arrival. Angie's water broke, and she was rushed to the delivery room. For safety reasons, doctors decided to take the babies by cesarean section. Angie agreed, considering the circumstances. During the operation, Gino held Angie's hand tightly. The first baby to come out was Danielle, followed by Annabelle, and finally Camilla. Angie and Gino couldn't immediately hold their babies because their lives were still in danger. This upset Angie and Gino, but they understood the situation and simply wanted their babies to be safe. Because the babies were born a few weeks early, they required medical attention and were placed in incubators right away. The medical team was well prepared and ensured that each baby had their own incubator and dedicated medical team ready. The babies were so tiny and needed warmth. Angie trusted the medical team and believed they would take good care of her babies, which gave her some comfort. Since the babies were so small and their lungs hadn't fully developed, they also needed help breathing. The medical team had a solution for this respiratory issue as well. The babies were supported by machines to help them breathe, ensuring their lungs received enough oxygen. While Angie was still on the operating table, she was shown a digital photo of her little girls. Overjoyed to see they were doing well, she longed to hold them. Just hours after being placed in incubators, the babies stabilized and began breathing on their own, which was wonderful news. However, they still weren't ready to go home. Fortunately, Angie and Gino could now hold them. Angie, still recovering, was brought in a wheelchair to meet her babies. It was a beautiful and heartwarming moment, bringing her immense joy and comfort despite her recovery. She got to hold each baby, one at a time, and that's when she realized her long stay in the hospital had been completely worth it. Angie was so happy, she started to cry, and she looked at Gino proudly. Their big wish had come true, and how? The parents were overjoyed to finally hold their long-awaited girls in their arms for the first time. With the help of a nurse, the babies got to feel the body warmth of both Angie and Gino. The babies all still had their eyes closed, but when Gino picked up Annabelle, she suddenly looked him straight in the eye. The special bond between father and daughter was immediately created, right then and there. When Angie had recovered a bit, she was sent home to rest. She would still need some time to get back to her old self after the big operation. At home, Angie and Gino could rest peacefully, knowing their babies were in good hands at the hospital. Angie was happy to get home. Now, all she had to do was wait for her babies so that her family could live a normal life. The babies were never left unattended. Each girl in the incubator was constantly monitored by a dedicated nurse, as their fragile health required close attention. When the babies finally became stable enough to go home, the medical team was overjoyed, celebrating and cheering for Angie, Gino, and their little ones. Just like when they were raising their boys, everything started all over again: diapers, bottles, and nap times, but this time it was all times 3. Having triplets at home was no easy feat, and their hands were always full with the little girls. Yet, as parents, they couldn't have been more proud. Their family was finally complete, and they were happier than ever. The girls grew rapidly and thrived, with no signs of their premature birth remaining. This all took place back in 2011, and now the babies are 9 years old. They've grown into such sweet and wonderful girls. These parents had wished for a daughter and ended up with 3. While it wasn't what they originally imagined, they couldn't be happier with their incredible blessing. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.